The Constitution mandates that the president is sworn in at noon on the 20th day of January. But 9 men have assumed the nation's highest office with little or no advance warning.
From Dallas, Texas, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Lyndon Johnson took the oath aboard Air Force One after the murder of President Kennedy in Dallas. Johnson placed his hand on Kennedy's Catholic missal or prayer book, perhaps mistaking it for a Bible.
I, Gerald R. Ford, do solemnly swear that I will...
And Gerald Ford was sworn in after Richard Nixon resigned in disgrace.
This is the village of Plymouth Notch.
Of all these unforeseen inaugurals, the most, well, picturesque has to be Calvin Coolidge's.
This has been called one of the best preserved presidential sites in the country.
William Jenney oversees the Coolidge Historic Site in the tiny village of Plymouth Notch, Vermont, our 30th president's hometown.
This is the Coolidge homestead where Calvin lived from the time he was 4 and where he happened to be as vice president when word came that Warren Harding, the president, had died. It all happened at 2:47 in the morning.
It all looks pretty much the way it did back on that very historic, very early morning in 1923.
We're walking into the sitting room, and this is now known as the Oath of Office room.
Just like in this painting. The same table, same pen, the family Bible, the notary stamp that made it official, even that cat paperweight.
That was just a little thing that they had here in the house.
And that was that here at the time?
Possibly. It's not.
Oh, we don't know.
Sure.
That Calvin Coolidge was really into cats or something. Is there electricity in this room?
There was no electricity in the town. This all happened by the light of this lamp here.
This actual lamp?
Right.
The house had no telephone either, so...
Someone came down here by car, knocked on the door here, and Calvin's father answered it and got the news.
And they said, your son is president.
Basically.
We'll let Calvin Coolidge himself tell you what happened next. Mr. President, what happened when your father woke you up to tell you President Harding died?
Well, Father came up the stairs calling my name.
Actually, that's a Calvin Coolidge impersonator on videotape in the visitor center.
He had been the first to address me as President of the United States, for President Harding had died.
The general store just across the street did have a telephone.
This store was once operated by Calvin's father.
As a boy, Coolidge had worked here.
He built these counters along with his dad.
They are beautiful.
Combination of bird's eye maple and cherry.
I don't know that we've had a lot of presidents who would be able to do this. But we digress. Coolidge called down to Washington to confirm the news.
And the Attorney General advised them to go ahead and administer the oath then and there.
And so, in the sitting room of his childhood home, Calvin Coolidge was sworn in as President of the United States by the town's notary public, who just happened to be his very own father. A simple, solemn ceremony, no pomp, no circumstance, and perfectly American.